So keep in mind, oppressors are changing the sound of my voice. Now let me explain to you why it is racist, especially against black people, to date based on money. For example, if I was to say, I date based on skin color, okay? And some white people have a very dark tan, right? You'd say I was racist, even though there are some white people that have, a tan and a very dark tan. They're like the same color as I am, and I'm mixed, part black, part white. So it is with money, okay? Where there's about 190 million whites in America. Again, there's about 190 million whites in America and about 40 million blacks in America. Those white people own 80% of the wealth collectively, and black people own less than 2.6% of the wealth. So though there's almost 5 times more white people than black people, right? They have almost 31 times more wealth collectively. So again, though there's almost 5 times more white people than black people in America, they have almost 31 times the wealth. Now, keep in mind that there's a lot of poor white people, but the system has been proven to have an output of black people being more likely to be poor. That's the output. They're more likely to be oppressed. Part of it is networking, right? There's a lot of white people that go to white stores. They have white culture. There's not so many black stores. Part of it is attitudes when hiring. Now, the solution to this problem obviously isn't just, telling people, hey, hire more black people. It's more complicated than that. I have a war on poverty plan that would help poor white people too. But that's not the topic here. The topic here is whether or not it's racist in a country where black people have less than 2.6% of the wealth, okay? And they're like 12, 13% of the population. Whether it's racist to go to that group of people, okay? And say, hey, buddy, I'm not going to date you because you don't have enough money, because the white man held you the fuck down. You see what I'm saying? And then to be like a Republican who might be in the Klan, maybe they're not, but it's hard to tell which ones are in the Klan and which ones aren't because they're so damn racist as a group, right? I mean, hello, right? Okay. Now, again, the point isn't to insult Republicans or you. It's to put things in perspective. And when I put it this way, it makes it clear that I'm right. You see what I'm saying? It's very simple. White people are around 70% of the population. Okay, 67% actually, and they have 80% of the wealth. That's not fair, right? Why would that be? You look at all the Asians and look at all the smart black people. Look at gang members, how witty they are, how quick thinking they are. Is it hard for someone who sells drugs to sell, computers or something instead? No. So they're being kept from that, right? So they're being kept from getting money and stacking money, and then you turn around and say, hey, show me the money first. You don't think that's racist? Okay, so you might argue, well, why don't they just sell, computers instead? Because you're not paying attention. This is a system that is historically racist. Martin Luther King was killed in 1968 to keep black people from competing with white people effectively, among other things. To keep them from dating white women, among other things. And part of how they still keep them from dating other races is they keep them poor, with females like you arguing that you must first make sure they are financially stable or have a lot of money. And that keeps them down. Part of how you keep someone poor is psychologically. If you walk into a place knowing that white people are associated with wealth more, the clothes are made for them, by them, more often than not. And the cultures that are marketed to you are cultures that keep you down. And employers are saying, hey, why don't you go, do a culture that keeps you down instead of work here? They have that kind of attitude. It's a potent psychological effect. People have been known to kill themselves for less than that. Look at bullying and suicide. Look at the suicide rate. There's like tens of thousands of people commit suicide every year in this country. Why? Because of the psychological effect of things. So psychology has been proven to be so potent at times that it kills people. So instead of you, as their fellow citizens, saying, let's stop judging by money, let's judge by the content of the character, which will help people want to date in a way that would uplift and support those people trying to correct this injustice. You're saying let's date toward the money, which is the problem that keeps these people down, that causes them to kill each other and drug each other and abuse each other and rape each other. Don't you see how that's not just racist? No offense, but what you're doing is evil. Now let's consider immigrants. After the developed nations come together in their business alliances, their corporate alliances, corporate partnerships, transnational corporations, conglomerates, what have you, to utterly trample poorer nations where people who are ethnic minorities in America trace their roots. They come here desperate, looking for help, and they're discriminated against, and they're kept from finding their way, and they make the immigration process so hard that they pay criminal elements to smuggle them here. And when they get here, you know, they come across a lot of adversity, including females who say, hey, date based on the blood money that was used to keep these people down in the first place. Okay? And the people that these racist, people who dominate the developed nations like America, okay? The people who they elevate in their system, which is clearly unfair. It's a rigged system, dog-eat-dog culture. It's a rat race. Okay, crony capitalism, right? This rigged blood money system. And say, hey, whoever they allow to have money, that's who you should date. And their victims, black, brown, poor, white, whatever, throw them under the bus. And when their victims are disproportionately people of color, yes, it's racist. I would say that to you or a black female who's darker than I am. Okay? If you date with the scale of blood money, white supremacy, crony capitalism, white oppressor, blood money, devilism, Satanism, then you are evil and racist by your actions. Again, I'm not trying to insult you. I'm trying to inform you that you are wrong and what you're doing is very hurtful. And you might, go your whole life without anyone ever criticizing you effectively in your face about it or something. That doesn't mean you didn't waste your life being evil. Think about it. Now, believe it or not, they're poisoning me. They even fume me. And that causes me to stumble on my words. You could clearly see that I'm right. But they want people like you to make fun of me. It's like if they had drugged Martin Luther King and said, oh, he's stumbling on his words. And that's sick. You see how far they go to be sick? It is so evil to have a financial imperative. All that matters is the content of someone's character. If someone's a good person and that what they need to do is get a job or something or get a better job, they're going to do that. But if they need to put morality over getting a job and making more money, they're going to do that instead. And that's superior to the person who puts money first. And if you don't know that, you're crazy.